Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And I'm with my amazing co star, Deborah Drummond. Hi, Deb.
Hey, Caroline, how's it going today?
Fantastic, fantastic. So, today, Deb, we have a great subject that, you know what? First of all, we have an amazing speaker, but before going to our speaker, I'm going to throw you flowers a little.
Okay, people, you've been following us. You know what that means, right? When Caroline says she's going to throw flowers, it means I duck and the pot's coming. Okay, what do you got for me today, girl?
Now today we're going to talk about pioneers,
Mm.
and I know that you have been a pioneer in your life in a few areas. You know, you're probably the pioneer of granolas. That's first, because Deb was not eating any sugar, gluten, or using a microwave ever. So imagine when she was young, well, was microwave there? No, but
Oh, oh, we're really throwing pots today. We're really throwing pots today.
no,
Okay, little
but
whippersnapper.
she was seen as a hippie, but now she's seen as the coolest woman who is looking so fantastic at her age because she actually stayed healthy, you know? But I know that you've pioneered a few things like women movement, a company. Talk about just one of them, like your biggest pride aside from your kids.
Right, right. Well, thank you. And there was a couple of pots in there, but thank you, oh ye young one. It's like throw the age card. You know, it's bad enough that you get it out there. You get it from your girlfriends as well. And so obviously, Caroline knows that I'm super excited to talk to Valerie today because pioneers have to back each other up. Apparently, especially if you're over 30. Um, and so pioneers, yeah, being a pioneer, like Caroline talks about, she knows that I got called a hippie a lot. I've been in the health and wellness sector for over 30 years. And it was hard. Like, it was hard. And I know Valerie had that experience as well, breaking some ground, women in business, and what that took. And some of the people's comments that I got back when I wanted to start an aromatherapy home party company. Get that. 25 years ago, 20 years, they're like, aroma, what? They're like, what? Like, oh, like some what well that's what I got. I'm like, they're like, congratulations. That kind of thing. And so yes, I've been wheat free and dairy free and gluten free for 30 years. And people really did think that there was something different about me. And sometimes it takes a while for things to catch up, and it does make you question yourself sometimes. You're like, I'm raising kids that I don't give sugar to, and people would say things like this: why don't you just be normal? Why don't you just be normal? Right? And I'm like, okay, thank goodness I kept the close people close to me. Either they were too scared to tell me their personal opinion. And I had been raised by a very strong grandmother that said, don't care about what people think, but the truth is I did. And when I go to Thanksgiving dinner, one of my family members, actually was an in-law of a family member, they would say, don't eat this because it was cooked in a microwave, or don't eat this, or don't that. And I felt ostracized a lot for my health choices. I got so sick in my 20s that I was forced back to wall to make a change in my health. And then when I realized why I got sick, I was able to advocate, and it kind of gave me some courage. And then I built a whole sector around it. And I was definitely too soon, right? It's kind of like if Starbucks were around 25 years ago, they probably would not have been as big of a hit because it was too soon. But I think the biggest thing that why I like talking to pioneers, or one of the things, is that you got to have thick skin. You got to have thick skin to do stuff out of the box, right? Because people have opinions, and they haven't learned enough to keep them to themselves yet. Like, you know what I love? When my mom used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all, right? I wish I had said that to a few people, but you can let it fuel you. You can let it fuel you. My girlfriend that told me that the people were not ready for an aromatherapy home party, I'm sure my first 5 years was just on sheer, I was going to prove her wrong. Man, did that pee me off. And we're still friends today. She doesn't even know I tell that story. She probably doesn't even remember saying it to me.
Right.
So anyways, I think it can fuel you, but it can also hurt you. So You got to be kind of tough and you got to stick to it, and you got to be adaptable. So I think that that's enough about me. And I'm sure that's,
But
being
look at the
so
woman
old.
that, sorry, look at the woman that it made out of you today, probably one of the
Yeah,
strongest women that I know. And there's no pot, so just take it.
I'm going to take it.
But today I have the huge pleasure and honor to introduce like a woman who is a pioneer in her industry, but not only that, she's also in an industry that is not conventional. So she has two strikes against her and she's running strong. So let me introduce you to Valerie Aloisio. And if I mispronounce a little, I'm sorry. But welcome, Valerie.
Thank you so much. You did perfect, Caroline. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be with you both today and everybody else that's listening.
Awesome. So, Valerie, tell us a bit, first of all, which, sorry, I'm trying to switch that at the same time. Which industry are you in?
Well, great. Well, as you may know, I've been in the network marketing industry for 20 years. And it's been an incredible journey during those 20 years, getting into a pretty unconventional, if you come from traditional corporate America, right? Or your traditional background, go to school, get your degree, go get a job, go join, get a great job in corporate America. Yes, I'm in the States. I know you're in Canada, but here we are. Yes, I had a very great career in the corporate world. And then, life changes. And then this industry of network marketing was introduced to me, and I wanted nothing to do with it in the beginning because I hated sales. I thought that's what it was all about. But boy, what a journey it's been, and what a huge growth experience it's been. So yes, I am in a very proud network marketing professional, and talk about being kind of 20 years ago, and this industry has been around. But for someone like myself, who was raised very conventionally and did everything according to the way things were supposed to be, to end up, being in this network marketing thing, was something like, to your point, Deborah, being like granola and people saying, "What are you doing?" And, that's how I felt. But you know what? I just knew that there was work-life balance on the end of that trail. And that's what I wanted at the time as raising as a single mom of two kids. So yes, I like to think of myself, the industry has been around, being a pioneer, especially for women, to say, yes, you can have that work-life balance. Yes, you can be an entrepreneur. Yes, you can, have it all on your terms. And this industry gives you that. So I like to think I've been a pioneer in that space with all the others like yourselves that have been around.
So Valerie, what was it? I mean, so you come from this conventional place. Sounds like things were going pretty good. You were doing what you're doing, and didn't sound like you were too unhappy. But so what was it that made you decide to do this networking thing? Because you said, like, at first you were like, hey, so what changed your mind?
Wanting more time freedom, more work-life balance, having a great career and being, and then, finding myself going through a divorce, which was, obviously traumatic. Many people have gone through it, but, going through that and then really reevaluating the things that you hold dear and what you really want, what is it you really want out of life? It took a defining or changing moment to really think, wow, is this really all there is? And what if there was something that would be more conducive to what I wanted, and that's not something that you learned in school, right? To get into this industry. So once I learned about it, and I had a great friend who said, why not? How do you know? You should move forward. You should, and one of the things that we always talk about is taking that leap of faith, that why not enter into something different? And I think fear holds us back many times. So I think it was a combination of things, Deborah, that really led to the decision to kind of step out of what and the conventional thing, and to kind of venture into, going after what I really wanted. And that was more family time, more entrepreneurial time, you're really doing more, so, and this industry did it.
So I would say knowing what I know about you, and when we talk about you being a pioneer, so you kind of stepped into an industry that 20 years ago wasn't, maybe dominated by women, particularly in your success circle. I mean, where you've taken your business has been pretty successful. And we all know as entrepreneurs, lifepreneurs, athletes, you don't get to your goal without, falling down a little bit. And in 20 years, that obviously has been the case. And I know that also in this industry, and some of that mindset that I was talking about before, where my family was like, can you just be normal, would be like, let's stay in that one career. Let's stay in that one company for 40 years. I mean, that's kind of, I know Caroline may not relate because she's so young and so beautiful, but for those of us that have been around for a little while, it's like there was really that gold pocket watch mentality. And so I know that you have chosen, right? I mean, that's the one thing that I love about you. You've chosen, you've chosen different companies. You've chosen an interesting kind of, I'm not going to say the word controversial, but new, cutting edge, really what's happening. So tell us a little bit about that, because you've been in more than one company in this industry.
Yeah,
and that's never an easy decision.
No, it's not. And when I think about my journey, because you were saying back then, aromatherapy and all, the wellness, about 20 years ago when I got involved, it was with a wellness company. It was to really learn about, very cutting edge approaches to healthcare. I had lost my mother to breast cancer she was only 59, 27 years ago, And so that got me on, and I was pregnant with my daughter. I had a 3-year-old. So that as a young mom got me very intrigued about the holistic approach to healthcare. And who would have known? I mean, well, they always say there's no coincidences, that when my friend shared with me these products that were from a Japanese wellness company, that was sold through this network marketing thing, it was like, wow, well, I want to learn about this and this, So that being said, so back then, the wellness industry was still a very pioneering thing. And then, of course, there was some changes after 12 plus years. I think I was with that company. The management of the company started to change. And I didn't really kind of trust where the direction of the company was maybe going. And, when you just don't have that same passion or that feeling of being a little bit off, how could you be in full authenticity and authority if you're off yourself? So I knew that as much as I didn't want to, it was like a divorce, yet again, leaving a company I was with for such a long time in this industry. It's a long time, but, I did it, and it wasn't easy, and then I got into an industry that was another pioneering industry. It was renewable energy. What did I know about that? Out of like, I'm the health and wellness kind of guru, and yet the opportunity presented itself to help launch a company that was in a very new cutting edge space that a lot of people didn't understand. And so there I was yet again in an industry that people didn't understand, and yet built a very successful business until such time that company ended up closing 5+ years later. And then that's the only other reason why I now ended up where I am today, yet again, helping to launch a company for Carolyn, cannabis space, in the cannabis industry, which, yep, I'm sure everyone's saying, oh my, but yes, talk about pioneering a brand new age-old plant, new health science, but a new industry that's really changing the world in a big way. So,
you know what? Before going there to your new industry, because I know that there's tons that I would want to ask you, and there's some that I will. But before going there, I want to ask you one question. You said your second company closed, and we hear that a lot in network marketing, like, oh, whatever, it's not a safe industry, it's not this, it's not that. I explain quite often to people that whatever industry you're in, the company may fold. The biggest chain stores started closing, the ones that were there when I was a baby. So there's nothing guaranteed in business. But how did you get back up from that? Because I know that you're also, sorry, I'm rambling here, but I know you're also part of our new book, 20 Powerful Women in Network Marketing, and you share your amazing story, which is really about the real journey and obstacles and successes. But that must have been like it must have felt like quite the obstacle when you've put your heart and soul into something and then it closes. How did you get back up from all of that and decide to yet again go into a new industry?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked that, because I find that there's a lot of times that people will get into our wonderful industry of network marketing, and because of either experience, one way or another, whether a company closes or doesn't work for them, but we always know about what that's all about, then it really is a decision, and at that point, that's not my decision. Like my sister, she got laid off from her job after 20 years. I mean, these things happen. So when people say, oh, you should get a stable and secure, job, just like you said, Carolyn, stores close, businesses close. This is par for the course. So this was a business decision. To this day, I don't fault the owners of that company. They made a business decision. Of course, we were like, oh, starting all over again, really, and I really have to say, tell you the truth, I started to really self-evaluate, when these things happen, you go through some reflection, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should really go get another job, or maybe I should go into something else, a real estate or something. And then I really had a come to Jesus kind of moment, I like to say, where I'm like, really look at yourself and say, I said, who are you kidding? This is what you've been doing. This is what you love. You love building teams. You love the challenge of helping companies start, and this is what you love. This is what you're good at. So get back on the horse, find the next horse and ride it. And so that's exactly, again, it's a decision. Very fearful, all those emotions, but and self-reflection. And that got me back again, past over fear, into activity and motion, and finding something that I was passionate about, and then running. And that's really what it's all about. If you're passionate about something and you have this, you can learn the skills, then you can make anything happen, I believe.
And I admire that, and I actually love how you put it. It was a decision. Most people would take it as this happened to me. You made a decision that you were going on to the next horse. And what a horse. You
Yeah.
are now in the hemp cannabis industry. And I know there's a lot of, I don't know, I want to say controversy, or I want to say controversy, but I will say a more educated term. There's a lot of ignorance on that on that industry that people don't know, and I honestly am not that educated on that industry, but there's something scary about it. When someone is telling you I'm in that, and I think it's just because we don't understand it, and for us it's like it has always been related to something illegal, but there's so many good properties. So
Yeah.
talk to us a bit about your new company,
Yeah.
this industry, and the fact that it is safe.
Yes, it is. It is safe. I will tell everybody listening, it is safe. And yes, there's still a lot of education. Think about this. 5 years ago, when I got into this industry, the company that I represent was the first company ever to bring a hemp-derived CBD, which a lot of people know about CBD, cannabidiol now, to the market. So people didn't know, is it legal? I didn't know. What am I doing? I taught my kids not to do drugs. Why you're telling me to get involved in this kind of thing, But when I got educated, and that's why there's not a lot to learn. There's enough to learn, because really this is actually a new health science. I mean, this is now science. This discovered that we do have a system within our bodies that requires cannabinoids, and so to function properly. This is not okay, just like another like little goji berry or something that we're now bringing to market. This is actually a science, and so that's what I felt very passionate about, learning and being able to be a part of getting that information out there to people, pointing them in the right direction so they can learn, and then helping to clear up any misinformation. So we're talking about something that is completely legal, completely healthy. Hemp is a sister plant to marijuana. It's all under the cannabis umbrella. And so, we're talking about the health, not the high here. There are plenty of people that's what they want to talk about. Great. I mean, have at it. But this is something different. And then to kind of think about bringing, people awareness and education, to your question, and giving them the confidence, yes, to move forward, and then seeing the results and seeing the benefit. And then as we're going to learn even more, because it's now that, hemp is off the schedule, drug list, and now more and more people are incorporating it, doctors, all kinds of, this is now here, and it's here to stay. But there's a lot of 50,000 uses for hemp, hemp biofuel, hemp plastics. Think about our environment, and what we could be doing. So hemp clothing, and just, again, you would love that, Deborah, because of your background, but it's very exciting to be pioneering this industry, and so once people understand the differences and why they need it, then, and then we move from there. But, to be the first company ever to bring cannabis to the world through a network marketing channel, that's what gets entrepreneurs very excited, like myself. It's like, really? I can have a business in this huge, massive up and coming industry, doing what I love to do, and that's build teams and create leadership structures all over the world. And that's basically what we've done in these past 5 years. So very excited about that.
Wow. So I know that working with people has been a critical piece. It is an element of our industry, right? It is an element of being an entrepreneur, no matter what it is that you're doing, is being able to have a relationship with other people. And so I know that that's an important piece for you. And that's something that you've obviously cultured very well. I mean, I know you don't build, we were just talking about Europe, you don't build internationally unless you have a love for helping people. And because that's a whole different time zone and energy and effort and really putting it out there. And I know leadership's really important too. So what is it about leadership that kind of gets you juiced up? Like, what is it about that?
Well, great question. When I think about my journey, and so many people's journey in this industry, people get into this industry, some people just want a little, some people want more. And, then for me, it was about helping others get to their potential and reach their potential, and whatever that may be for them, and that's, I think, a good leader. Really, you don't want to make somebody into something that they don't want to be. And it's understanding personalities and understanding people and meeting them where they're at, but helping them reach their goal, being honest, brutally honest, which a lot of times we don't find these days. People just like to yes you to death if they want you in or whatever. I'm very selective with whom I work with. I know what I'm looking for. I know the goals at hand. I know the type of leaders, because not everyone, people use that term very loosely these days. Not everyone is cut out to be a leader. Can people learn skill sets? Yes, but do they have the passion? It's not easy working with people, at all, as you guys know. So it really is helping people reach their full potential. And I've been in this industry quite some time, and I still feel like it's like a brand new day, and I'm more excited today than I was ever. And it's about seeing people grow. That is really, and to your point, to have an international business, because my other previous business was really just a national business. It wasn't, global. Mm-hmm. And to be able to have a global business, to experience culture and help people get to where they want to be around the world is a lot of fun.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I mean, all I can say is thank you very much. You've been a huge inspiration in terms of, anyone that has that entrepreneurial spark that wants to be able to be associated to something that's pioneering, which we know, I mean, that pioneering, ideas, new to market, there's a certain cell that people have in their bodies that get excited about that, right? And I know those are the people that you're looking to really align with, people that are inspired to kind of break ground and break country, break ground, break bread together, So it's been absolutely wonderful getting to know you a little better. And I love the fact that you're a part of the book. You're a major part of the success of that. And Caroline, I'll let you kind of say a few words.
I'll ask my last question. Well, two. Basically, I really want to hear from you quickly. Why did you choose to accept our invitation to the book and write a chapter?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, anything that we can do, and there's that phrase, and we've heard it often, a rising tide raises all ships, to really give back and give people hope. I mean, I think now more than ever, this book, when you came to me, and people, coming off of the year that we've been through with COVID and everything that's been going on, now more than ever, people need to have hope and need to have a plan and need to have guidance, and to be a part of this book with the other wonderful women that you've encountered, put together to give our little, nuggets of wisdom, to hopefully that was just one thing. I just remember there's been a few phrases from people that I've heard through my journey that got me to stay in the game, or got me in the game, or got me to say, okay, I'm going to wake up again and do this again. That's why I really did this, is to really give some of that knowledge back in a very short way. And the book, totally, gave us that opportunity to help others. I can't wait to read all the book and learn from all the other wonderful speakers as well.
The book is amazing. I'm the only one who read it as of now. But Valerie, if someone wants to reach you, do you have a website or an email address or something?
Yes, they can go to valeriealoisio.com, or Valerie, Valerie Aloisio at Gmail. So my first and last name at Gmail. They can reach me there. They can go to valeriealoisio.com. And, I'm on Facebook, just look for Hemp Lifestyle Network, because that's really what it's all about, living the hemp lifestyle. If you see that hashtag, that's me. Find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find me, wherever. And of course, everyone needs to buy the book, and they'll be able to learn more about myself and the other wonderful women, and our contact information will be there as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Deborah, I
Yes.
will go back to you a second.
All right.
Oh, she's like, oh, she's grilling me again. No. So, what's your closing feeling on all of this?
You know
Because
what?
honestly, I've listened to Valerie and I'm like, wow. When you said, when you said this fiber, when you're an entrepreneur, the newness and the pioneer and all of this, it comes and touch a fiber. It did come and touch it in me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go find out more about our products. Not to go as an entrepreneur, obviously, but it does, it does spark the spark of like wanting to start something new, because it's so motivating, and it's so, it's the whole idea of our podcast as well. We needed to just jump in and start something. So what's your take on that?
You know what? I mean, the one thing that I really caught, because with a background of health and wellness, and someone who had to explain how to use lavender to people, to the point that if I had to explain how to use lavender anymore, I was going to, like, my head was going to explode, right? It was just like, please stop using the chemicals that people are plugging into their wall. And please stop thinking dewberry and strawberry surprise and shortcake is a natural scent that you should be breathing in, because you're neurotoxing your brain. And so I used to be that advocate. I used to be that person that was just like, please stop doing that. Even yesterday I was talking to my trainer, and I'm like, okay, you need to put thyme oil on the bottom of your feet so you don't. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I've had one flu in 30 years. He's like, what? I'm like, just put this oil, put it on the bottom of your feet, and we're good to go. So the one thing that I really loved about Valerie's story is that I know that's just the peak, that there's so much underneath, and there's so much of her journey that you can't get to share in a small amount of time. And so I know what it takes, the peaks and valleys, but I loved what she said around two things. One is breaking ground is very exciting to those people that have that in their blood. They just do, right? And there's great advantage. There's great market advantage being the first. You pay the price, but there's great advantage of being the first. The second thing that inspires me is when she said health, not high. That for me was a big one, because I'm all about health, I'm all about wellness. And I think there is confusion, whatever the words we want to use, there's confusion around the industry. And I remember when hemp clothing first came out, like I remember people are like, it's what? And I remember selling soaps that this local soap maker made, and she wrapped it in hemp, and people are like, that's bizarre. And that's bizarre, kind of cool. And it came and it went. Like, it really came and it went. And I'm talking years ago. It came in hemp clothing. Whoa, and then you got people like, Paul McCartney's daughter coming out with vegan leather, and all of these things started to hit the market. And I really believe that hemp clothing was the beginning of people to start to see alternatively something they could do, right? So like people are like, you're wearing a what? I'm like, oh, this is apparently vegan leather. They're like, okay. You know, it's a very interesting concept. So I think Valerie's in a real sweet spot where people are open, and then you've got someone with that much experience in pioneering. And it's important when you're trying to break confusion, it's important to be able to give people the right information. So for me, as soon as she said that, I got very excited.
It's also so important when you start in something new to have the posture. And that's what, experience also brings her that. But um, just like she said as well, you need to be surrounded by good leaders. So,
Yeah.
because that's
So Valerie, we're sitting here talking. Oh, sorry. See, we're not supposed to overtalk each other, but we do. Valerie, we're talking about you as if you're not sitting here. So, right? We're just, just sit there and look good, lady. So, we're kind of going to be wrapping up the podcast now. And I know that people have heard how to get a hold of you and that kind of thing, but is there anything in the interview, the conversation, the communication that we had that you're screaming to make sure that you say before we close off?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I wasn't sure if we were still on the podcast, but very excited to be. I think we covered it quite a lot. I think that for those entrepreneurs, lifepreneurs, going for whatever it is they want, and especially, those of us in the network marketing arena, keep reaching for that top, keep going for it. I know when I started with this company, I said, okay, what's the top, and what do we have to do, and what does it take to get to the top? People always say they want to get to the top, but people, as you said, it takes a lot of work and a commitment, and get up, get back down, all take the nose and the whole thing. But I said, okay, what is the top? And then I set a very measurable goal. I said, okay, that's the top position. That's going to bring me, 7 figures. That's what I want. Thank you, dear God, on or before this date. I set my mark for 3 years. I will achieve that. I had no idea how. We were in an industry that nobody even knew what we had, but I said that every day, and that's the power of intention. And that's what I want people to understand, how important that is. And on my 3rd anniversary with that company, I was able to hit that rank, and the first time in my career to be kind of hit that top rank. And I thought about, wow, all the people that were helped along the way, because of course it wasn't just me, it was the team, and so keep going. I see so many times people, they just fall short of it, or they don't reach out enough to people. That's why I'm so glad I'd be a part of this book, because I love helping people in all different kind of companies. And because if they stay in or just make themselves better, and work on themselves and keep going. And sometimes you may have to switch companies because we talked about that, it's okay, but don't, if that's your dream, then keep going for it. That's all I want to say.
And I think that, I just want to say what you just said there does apply to network marketing, but it applies to life in general. It applies to life in general, and any goal that you will set yourself. Ask yourself, what's the top? What's the top of where you want to go? Because usually that's also the best. So where do you want to go? Put a measurable goal and don't ever give up on it. And there's actually a really good book on that called Three Feet from Gold. It's too many people stop digging when they're just there. When they're just there, but they don't see it, so they stop. And that is whether you're in conventional business, whether it's your relationship, whether it's network marketing. We often give up when we were just there, but we don't know it. So I love what you just said there. Don't give up. Just keep on going. And what? You're a great example of what perseverance is.
Thank you very much. One of the first little plaques I got from my sponsor, my first company, was this: what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? That was on my desk, that I saw that day in and day out. What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Because the fear of failure is what holds people back. And that, I think, is one of the most important phrases for me that got me through this journey and will continue to get me through, because we are in a pioneering industry and we are opening up new markets. I mean, talk about going to Dubai and being in this industry, you'd say, whoa, what but I'm just the things that we've been able to do and accomplish. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? If that was not an option, and more people around the world can get help physically or financially. So that's what drives me every day.
Oh.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. And thank you to everyone for being here with us today. I really hope you got some inspiration. I got some. And Deb, I'll let you close the show.
Well, thank you, ladies. It's always a pleasure. Caroline and I always just love who ends up showing up. That's just how the universe works. But, when I just encapsulate this information, this energy, this inspiration that Caroline talks about, the words that Valerie is saying, no time, I think, in history is it more important than today. We are in a funky time. And reaching for your goals might seem really strange when you're at home with your kids and your desk is now your couch and your laundry's in your living room and all those things are turned upside down and things are not the way that you may want them to be. And so it's in times like this that you hold on to those words and you try longer, harder, right? That not giving up is really, really important, because like anything in life, this too shall pass. Like anything in life, this too shall pass. And who are you going to be when you come out of this? And hang out with people like you're listening to right now. You have to hang out with people like this to get you through. So let's not deny that there's a funk. But right now, the reason why this book is so present at this time, the reason why people on our podcast right now are talking about what they're talking about is because this will get you through. There is resources, there is opportunities, there are people that have their hand out, and there are people that will work with you to help you to get to where you want to go at a time where it may be as confusing as the new, as what it is that Valerie is doing right now. So I don't know. I just feel like sharing with people, it's important now more than ever to think out of the box. Yeah. All right. Thanks, ladies. It was lovely.
Wow, great. It was a lot of fun. You guys are great. I can't wait to listen to the other podcasts.
Yay. Thank you.
So